Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I just kicked Leia and Zelda out of my office because they have a lot of like noisy toys in here, and I just didn't want like you to hear just like a bell the entire video because that's like their newest thing is like playing with like bell stuff. So anyways, thanks so much for hanging out with me a little bit today and taking a little bit of your time to spend with me. I wanted to do a video talking about products and basically, is Wizards of the Coast coming out with too many products? Because I feel like in these videos I kind of like to play devil's advocate. I kind of like to like play both sides of the field and kind of like talk about both angles here. And I was in a conversation actually, like Paul and I have been taking walks through our neighborhood as like our workout for the day, which has been like really nice just to kind of like get outside. And it's been really hot here, you know, it's really hot in Texas, but it's still been like really nice to like get outside. And so we were in the process of talking yesterday about like, as I told him about this video idea, and we were like talking a little bit about like product and stuff. And I think the reason that kind of like inspired this video is, you know, in May, I believe, yeah, we had Ikoria. In June, we have Corset. In July, we have Jumpstart. And in August, we have Double Master. So there's been a ton of sorts of things, like a ton of products basically coming out. And I kind of wanted to do a video talking about like, do I think that Wizards is producing like too much product? And I would say that there's probably two types of people. People who think Wizards is producing enough products, and then those who think that they are producing way too much products, especially now. I know that Ikoria got pushed a couple of weeks, and I think Corset got pushed as well, so basically it feels like releases are being really, really close together. Anyways, so I think it's important for like me to note in this video that I am someone who is very lucky in the sense that if Wizards said that they were dropping some really awesome product today and I wanted it, I could go ahead and like purchase it. So I think it's important for me to like talk about where I fall in this situation, because to be honest, everyone's financial situation is so different. And I think it's kind of one of those things where I think a lot of people try to like speculate on other people's financial situations and be like, well, how are you affording that? And like, how can you afford that? And like, you know, how is that in your budget? And like, I think it's ridiculous that you spend this many cards a month on Magic cards, or like you don't spend enough. It's just like there's so much stuff that like goes into it, to be honest. And I think like, you know, the true reality is we have no idea how many people's financial situations are. And I actually filmed a video where I talked about like a little bit about how I purchase cards. I'm in the situation where I basically budget every month on stuff that I want. Usually, I will say my budget consists of foil cards. That's kind of what I prefer. And to be honest, I'm a singles gal. I just tend to prefer buying singles. That's not being said though that like I will never purchase a box or anything like that. I'm looking at possibly purchasing a box of Double Masters. Paul has already purchased one for us, and I'm considering purchasing one as well. So we have two, and I think that'd be like really fun to like do two unboxings of the same set. I just think it'd be really interesting to see like the comparisons. But basically, I think a lot of people are saying like this is way too much stuff. And I guess the ultimate thing is, one thing I think that's really cool is that there's so many different types of products that I think you're able to pick and choose, obviously, like what products you want to purchase. So like, for example, like Jumpstart is coming out in July, and that is a product geared towards, I would say, newer players. That is not to say that you as an experienced Magic player can't purchase that product. You're absolutely welcome to purchase any product that you want. That's very similar to what's like another, like the intro packs, for example. Those are obviously geared towards, again, newer players, but anyone can realistically purchase those. So honestly, I think the whole thing is like you're able as a consumer to choose and decide what cards you want to purchase. You might say to yourself, you know what, that secret lair, I don't personally want to buy the whole secret lair. I'm just looking for one card. I'm going to seek out that card and purchase that. So you're able to like make those sort of decisions, and you're able to do that. Now, my kind of original thoughts, initially on that question, does Wizards produce too much product? To be honest, I like having something to look forward to. I think that's something that's like always been a factor for me, that I always like to look forward to what's coming up next. I think when like with COVID right now, I'm mentally struggling, I would say, because I feel like a lot of with my mental health is like looking forward to things like helps my anxiety. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know if anyone else is very similar to that, but I'm a very structured person, like a very organized person. I plan things out person. So COVID has really like interrupted those sort of things. So I think looking forward to stuff is something that really helps me like mentally get by. And so with that being said, I'm almost inclined to say no for me personally, I don't think it's too much product, because for many reasons. The first thing is, obviously, I'm able to choose and purchase things that I want, and I am able to say no to products that I know I'm not interested in. Like, I make very quick decisions of things. Like, for example, this most recent launch of Secret Lair, wasn't interested in it. Didn't purchase anything from the super drop that happened. I just didn't want anything. And I'm able to make those sort of decisions for myself. And the second thing is, again, I like having something to look forward to, and like spoiler season's really, really fun for me because I get to film a video on it, like my set overviews. I love filming set overviews. They're so fun. And I think like, as long as I have something that like I know, ooh, I'm gonna get spoilers soon for like this sort of thing, I guess I'm okay with it, because again, it's not something that I'm able to like financially be in that situation where I am able to purchase the sorts of things that I want. Now, coming at this from the opposite end of the spectrum, because I don't think it's fair for me to just talk about my situation. If looking at this, like stepping into someone else's shoes and looking at this from a lens of, I want all of these sorts of products, but I can't financially afford them, I can imagine that that's really frustrating for you, especially now with COVID affecting so many people financially. I understand that a lot of people are not in a situation to just purchase everything that they want, whereas before COVID, they might have. Now, there's some people where even with or without COVID going on, they were not able to purchase cards that they always realistically wanted. And I completely I understand that, and I understand that that can be a really frustrating thing, because there's all this cool stuff that you want, you might not be able to always do it. I think my big thing is, I think having something that I think would be really helpful is having ahead of time notice on things, so that people who want to save up for those products can do that. And I think that's really important. And I think that was one of my biggest gripes with, I think it was the first Secret Lair drops that they had announced, where they were literally like, oh, by the way, next week we're doing this launch. And it was like, for a lot of people, they were like, I don't get paid until this other week. Like, I was really interested in this product, and they wanted to get that product right then and there, rather than purchasing it later on for a higher cost, or purchasing singles that might have been a little bit more expensive. Like, they wanted to purchase from that initial Secret Lair launch, for example. And I'm using Secret Lair as an example just because I feel like Secret Lair has not given the most, I feel like they haven't been given the most, like, they haven't given people like as much notice about that product as I compared to other stuff. And again, I can imagine that that is sort of like really frustrating, because people like need to accommodate that and like fit that into their budget. And honestly, even for me, myself personally, if they had decided that they were gonna say, hey, we're gonna show you this product on April 1st, and then on May 1st we're gonna launch it, and like we're gonna give you all the spoilers April 1st, it's gonna launch on May 1st, I would personally be okay with that, because to me it doesn't affect me. If they had said that, basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if it helps more people, I'm for it, because like that just makes sense to me. Like, it's not about me, it's about like, how can we get it to help more people? And if they had done a release like that, where they had said, we're gonna, give you the products and tell you exactly what's in the products, and then a month later you're able to purchase them, I would be okay with that, and I would be like, oh, that's great, because it helps me, kind of, sort of, but it also helps the majority of people. So I think giving notice to products has been like a really, really big piece of this, because I think that really ultimately helps. So yeah, I guess ultimately, like, it's, I think a very like personal sort of thing. I think one thing that would be like helpful, and I don't know if this like makes sense, is to start to spoil things gradually instead of all at once. And I think that this can really help, because then people can make up their minds and decide if they want to purchase a product or not. Because I feel like a lot of times what happens, like, okay, for example, like Double Masters is coming out in August, and we have about, I want to say like 5 or 6 cards that we know of that are being printed in Double Masters. And I think if we had more of a notice about then people I feel like could make maybe more informed decisions rather than 4 or 5 cards, maybe make a more informed decision maybe on like 20 cards or something like that. And I think like that's something that's really important, is to maybe give people more spoilers. And I think that would really help people to decide, oh, am I interested in purchasing this product or not? And I think for those people who maybe do feel like they are missing out or something like that, something that I think would be like really helpful is I would say like if maybe let's just say like a secret lair drops or like a set drops, and you know they have like all these cards in it, and then you're like, you know, I don't necessarily can't really justify or I can't really afford getting a box. You know, buying singles I feel like is really a good way to go, and I think that's just like really, really helpful. And I'm so sorry if I've interrupted this video 3,000 times, and I'm also sorry because the cats are really crying right now because they're really upset that they can't go into this office, and they're just gonna be like, they're gonna make so much noise if they're in here, and that's not fair to you guys. So I promise I will play with them and I will give them lots of attention later, just not right now. Anyways, so yeah, I guess ultimately this is a sort of like up to you sort of like thing. I feel like if Wizards had, you know, stopped making a product, you know, or they like had decided that they were no longer going to produce as much products, I guess to be honest, like I'm okay with it. I think right now people are just feeling really overwhelmed, and because it's like you have your main sets like Ikoria, core set, you know, you have those, which I want to say is 4 times a year, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's 4 times a year. You have some sort of like master type product, and I'm also going to put within masters, I'm going to put like Conspiracy Battle Bond, because those are kind of like specialty types of sets. That's 5 products. And then you have Commander, so that's 6 major products. Then you have intro packs, you have Planeswalker decks, you have Secret Lair, you know, there's so many different types of things. Some launches are obviously bigger than others sort of thing, but I think it's truthfully like up to you to like purchase things that you are interested in. And, you know, again, if a box is out of your reach, you know, like make a little list and say like I'm gonna purchase, you know, only the cards that I sort of need and whatnot. That's like something that like I would do if like I was in a situation where, you know, I really, really wanted to get a box but like I wasn't able to. I would just get the things that I could afford and that I could you know, could get. But yeah, I'd really like to know what you guys think. I feel like a lot of the general consensus that I've been getting is that there's been too many products. I'm someone who's kind of like, I go either way. Like I feel like I go with whatever benefits the majority, I would say, like, and I think if the majority says Wizards is producing too many products, I'm like, okay, cool, like it doesn't, you know, as long as I feel like I can get cool cards and cool foil magic cards, like I'm cool with it. And as long as I think reprints are like a thing, I think that's like really important. And I feel like accessibility in the game is one of the most important things to me. And, you know, Paul and I were also in this conversation talking about like Secret Lair again, and specifically the fetch lands and how inaccessible those are, and that product made me really frustrated because I feel like very rarely have I thought of a Magic product as a whole and said that product is inaccessible. People cannot get their hands on that, but I felt that way about that product, and it was just really frustrating to see like no one could get their hands on that, and that just like made me really, really, really upset. So I'm sorry that this video was like all over the place. I was really distracted because the cats were crying, and I gotta go play with them and give them some attention because they're gonna like forget if I don't. So anyways, I'd really like to know what you guys think in the comments below. If you think that right now summer is like super overwhelming, especially with COVID going on for a lot of people, that's impacting people financially. So definitely let me know in the comments below if you're feeling really overwhelmed, or maybe you're kind of like, hey, if you're kind of with me and you're just like, you know what, things are fine for me. I gotta go check on that crash. So like this video, enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch y'all on my next one. Bye.